Dale Smith, the preferred student court chairman. Basically, what the student court chairman does is presides over student court trials with the student court to decide if there's enough evidence given the disciplinary case to separate a student from the college or for him to stay at the college. In addition, the student court chairman acts on behalf of the court with the dean of students to give disciplinary sanctions for students who are in a little bit of trouble, but not enough to really separate them from the college for any period of time. So I'm going to start off. Could you, Mr. Cartwright, Mr. Bishop, start with Mr. Cartwright and then move over to Mr. Bishop. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, where you're from, major, about yourself. Concise, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. My name is Alex Cartwright. I'm a junior here at Hampden-Sydney. I'm majoring in mathematical economics. I'm from Howard, Georgia. In my third year on the student board.
Good evening. My name is Dylan Bishop. I'm a junior here. I'm a double major in both philosophy and history. I'm also a brother of Sigma Nu fraternity, and I actively sit on the student court.
So we're going to start with Mr. Bishop, and then we'll read Mr. Carter. Why are you running for student court chairman?
Well, to begin, I'd like to ensure justice on this campus. I feel that in the recent past, we've kind of lost sight of justice. We've lost sight of the key, what dictates really what the student court is here to do. And I'm not making a slander on Neil by any means. I'm talking in general regards to leadership on this campus. So I want to ensure justice. I want to ensure that we play by the rules, we play by the books. And also, I feel like I have a connection with the students. That they put their trust in me to ensure that the job is executed in a fashion that they deem appropriate. And I would not do anything that I couldn't, explain fully what I did. So I just like having the opportunity to ensure justice.
Thank you. Mr. Carter?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Gentlemen, I think that when you think of Hampden-Sydney College, probably our most defining characteristic right behind the fact that we're all male is our honor code. And it's a strong honor code, and it's a student-run honor code. And I think that honor code is only going to continue to be as strong as the people that are leading it. And I think that after 3 years of experience on the court, and after taking time to draft a drug policy that's it's a solution that I'd like to present as a solution to the problem we're dealing with right now, I would be able to provide the leadership that our court needs at this time.
Okay. How would you protect the freedom of the court from the administration?
I would do exactly what I've been doing for the past 2.5 weeks. A lot of meetings are behind closed doors, but I'm sure if you ask the court or even the student body president, when this drug policy was first put on our laps, I stood alone against it. I thought the content of the policy was questionable, but more importantly, the method in which it was put onto us. So I'll do exactly what I've been doing for the past 2.5 weeks. I would call for accountability, I would call for an investigation, and I'll make sure that our questions were answered like they were, or our questions would not fall on deaf ears. And I think this past Thursday was a great example of student leadership coming together from multiple branches, and we held our administration accountable, and I think that's our obligation. My obligation is to the students, my obligation is to the key, and it's up to the leaders of our school to ensure that that's not deviated from the rules.
He ran over it.
Same question.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. I think, gentlemen, the best thing that the court can do to protect its sovereignty at this point is to have a plan. Last week we did a lot of finger pointing, and that was good, and we uncovered a lot of things that were hidden, but now the burden is on the court to produce what we said we're going to produce. We were in a meeting last week where we told Dr. Howard we didn't want a drug policy handed to us, we wanted to write our own drug policy, that burden is going to be on the next court chairman to have a plan and stand up and lead the court with that plan. I've already drafted a policy. I've already met with Dr. Howard on Sunday to start discussions on that policy. I've been discussing this with people all week. This policy is going to be explained in detail in the paper coming out on Monday. I think the best thing the court can do moving forward is to have a plan, to have clear goals of exactly what we want, and not just continue to point fingers at people.
Well, I mean, even I think it's a sensitive time for the court, kind of curious about kind of the administration. That really kind of leads to, the following question, which might even clarify your previous answer to the previous question. But what role should the administration play with the Supreme Court?
Well, thanks for the question, Neil. I'm going first.
You want?
I think first and foremost, we have to remember that the students are the ones upholding the honor code. It's the students that won't tolerate those who lie, cheat, or steal. We found out last week that the faculty and staff are actually not held to that same standard. So I think since we are the ones enforcing the rules, when it comes to a conversation about creating the rules, the students have the first and foremost voice in that conversation about new policy. That's number one. Also, I think the role of the administration should be to provide the resources necessary for us to continue to implement the student-run justice system, and aside from that, be as laissez-faire as possible.
Mr. Fisher?
I'm actually going to fall right in line with Mr. Cartwright. I think that the student justice system, the responsibility falls on us to ensure justice. The responsibility falls on us to enforce the key, to enforce the honor code. As far as the administration goes, they're obliged to ensure that we have the appropriate resources to do our job. And I think it stops there. They shouldn't have any influence on our decisions. They shouldn't have any influence on our policy. Bottom line, I think that the responsibility sits with the students. They're there to ensure that we can do our job, but the job nonetheless is our own.
Thank you, Mr.
What does the honor code allow us to do here? Beyond just take a test in our room, what does the honor code provide us here?
If you don't mind. The honor code allows us to make a name for ourselves, to make a reputation for ourselves. It allows us to build integrity. If we didn't have any leeway, we couldn't prove ourselves. And I think that's exactly what it allows us to do. It allows us to grow. It allows us to prove ourselves. It allows us to hold each other accountable. Whereas, and I think, Mark Twain summed it up best. Don't let schooling get in the way of your education. I think the brotherhood that we have here is equally as important to our education as the classes that we take. And I think the honor code is an integral part of that. It builds character and allows you to prove yourself. It allows you to grow into a good man and a good citizen.
Well, I think that probably the most basic definition of honor is self-respect, Mr. Chambers. And I think that living by honor code teaches us to respect ourselves and to respect other people. And I think by all being held to the same standard, we're able to hold ourselves to a higher standard of respect than we would be able to individually. I mean, we're Hampden-Sydney men. We greet each other on campus. We pride ourselves in our etiquette. We pride ourselves in the way we dress. We also pride ourselves in the integrity that we have. And I think that the honor code ensures that if you're not willing to live up to that standard, we're going to ask you to leave.
Thank you. Both these guys are fine guys. I work with them. I feel confident either of them taking over the position. I think they can handle it, kind of no matter what. I just encourage you guys to vote. And the whole thing that's been going on now is the fact that part of being a man is having a voice at the table, having a say. I encourage you to use that voice. Thank you.